Hi, good morning, Sanmay sir.
Hi, good morning. How are you
Uh,
doing?
good, sir. So I'm just making you the host and then we can start the meeting, sir.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I'll start sharing my screen, okay? Okay, guys. So my name is Sanmay, and I'll be the instructor for the Palo Alto Networks Certified Network Security Engineer. Okay. This course content will cover both PCNSE and PCNSA. Okay, so what's the difference between PCNSE and PCNSA? So as A sounds, this is an associate level certification. You can say that it's a beginner level certification like CCNA, okay? And this E is engineer. So this can be counted as an expert level certification. This is the certification that everybody should aim for if they're looking to get into the world of Palo Alto networks. I will guide you how to get PCNSE, and this will also cover the content required for PCNSA. Now, PCNSA content would only cover EDU 210. That is managing firewalls only. Okay, managing firewalls. PCNSE covers three EDUs that are EDU 210, the same one that PCNSA has, EDU 220, and EDU 330. Okay, this is firewalls. This is Panorama. This course will also cover Panorama, and this is troubleshooting. So as we go along, we'll be talking about a lot of troubleshooting scenarios on the firewalls, right? And related to the firewall technology. Also, deployment strategy. Okay, so a little about me. Um, I worked on these devices for almost 6 years for Palo Alto Networks. I have been a technical lead in the tech support team. I've also worked for professional services for Palo Alto Networks, and I've also worked on recently working on Zscaler. Okay. If you have any questions in between, feel free to stop me. Okay. About myself, I have this certification. I have cleared this 3 times, but I don't usually go for this certification anymore. I have something known as PCNSC. Okay, so I'm a certified consultant for Palo Alto Networks. You can be a certified consultant once you are are working with a partner for Palo Alto Networks and you have some deployment knowledge for Palo Alto Networks devices. Okay. This will only be possible if you have roughly around 2 years of experience in Palo Alto Networks. Okay. But for now, aim for this PCNSE exam. Okay. Yeah. But why Palo Alto, right? Why Palo Alto? Everybody is so crazy about next gen firewalls. They redefined the next gen firewall market, right? Everybody agrees on that. They redefined the next gen firewall market. Previously, it was just ASA. ASA working on layer 4. It had no security, to be honest. They brought in something known as App ID. They brought in proper layer 7 inspection. They brought in single pass architecture. Okay, something they call SP3. This is why they are so popular. App ID, single pass architecture. Okay, previously you have to get ASA and then you have to get another device for IPS IDS, right? And then you get another device for URL filtering. Then you get another device for sandboxing. and you have to pass your traffic through all these security stacks. This used to increase latency, and latency is bad for the network. What Palo Alto Networks did was they combined all of these features in the same device, and they called it a next gen firewall. So we'll understand what a next gen firewall is, right? Start from the basics, start from the scratch. Why Palo Alto's next gen firewall is so popular, right? And why it should be in your portfolio of your resume. There are so many next gen firewalls, right? There is Fortinet, there is Checkpoint, right? And there is Sophos, etc., etc. You have Juniper, and you have Cisco as well. Don't like to call them a next gen firewalls, but Fortinet and Checkpoint are the clear competitors of Palo Alto Networks. But why Palo Alto? Okay, so if anybody follows the Gartner quadrant, Gartner's magic quadrant for next gen firewall, Gartner magic quadrant for next gen firewall, Palo Alto Networks has been consecutive and consistent leader. So it has been roughly 8 to 10 times announced as a leader in Gartner Magic Quadrant for next gen firewall. Okay, so this doesn't come as a joke, to be honest, because being a leader for 8 times consecutive times is a very difficult thing. And you see it is right at the top if you see my screen. Okay. So if you see Fortinet, it's right behind Palo Alto Networks. But if you go for Fortinet, Fortinet is considered to be not an enterprise device. They do have some enterprise devices. You can think about it. It's a cheap version of Palo Alto Networks, to be honest, right? Cisco, it's not very cool as Palo Alto Networks now. Everybody is moving away from Cisco devices and shifting to either Fortinet or Palo Alto Networks. Checkpoint has lost its charm due to Palo Alto Networks. A cool thing that Palo Alto Networks, our founder Nirzuk, right? He he used to work for Checkpoint. He used to work for Checkpoint, and he was a developer in engineering department in Checkpoint. He left the company and he started Palo Alto Networks, and then everything changed. He redefined the next-gen firewall market. Okay, this is the sole reason why you should be focusing on learning the Palo Alto Networks device. Okay, now my suggestion to you is don't focus on learning just one thing. Even if you want to move here and there, kind of like stay in the leader quadrant. Okay, understand what Fortinet does, understand what Checkpoint does. Okay, stay in the top three or top four. Only understand what leaders are doing. Okay, they are redefining the market. That's how you can build your portfolio and 10x your salary. I've done it. Even you can do it. Any questions, guys, up to this point? I'll take it as no. No. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So, what's the basic difference between traditional firewalling and next-gen firewalling, right? This is bare minimum understanding how a traditional firewall used to work, like ASA, or even you can think about a router, right? And next-gen firewalls, like a Palo Alto Networks device. This app ID is one thing that differentiates a next-gen firewall from a traditional firewall, among all the other things, right? So the traditional firewall would just say allow port 53, right? It is allowing based on port numbers, that is layer 4 traffic, that is TCP or UDP. Okay, so the firewall rule would just say allow port 53. Now, all the traffic that is moving on port 53 would be allowed, be it DNS, be it BitTorrent. You don't know whether BitTorrent was allowed or not. The visibility is on port 53 only, right? You would be allowing so much traffic that you don't want to. Now, this is traditional firewalling. Now, the internet changes. Internet has changed a lot. Nowadays, this is bare minimum. Layer 7 app ID is bare minimum. We are moving towards data protection now. Now, the next gen firewall also supports data protection, DLP, email DLP, all sorts of things. Over here in the next gen firewall rule, it would say allow DNS and not port 53. When I say allow DNS, it has signature for DNS. Okay. Now we'll understand where it gets its signatures from, right? But if you see the firewall rule, it just says allow DNS. Now, if the BitTorrent traffic is coming on the firewall, it would get blocked, even if it's on the same port, right? You would be able to see that the users tried to access BitTorrent and it was blocked and denied. So the visibility is also very important in security devices. You would see that Palo Alto Networks firewall is very easy to use. Its GUI is superb. If you understand the GUI of Palo Alto Networks device, you would troubleshoot 90% of the issue just from the UI. Just from the UI. Okay. So it's wonderful. And only DNS would get allowed. Okay, so this is the basic difference of traditional firewalling and next-gen firewalling. So it has a list of signatures that it pulls down from the cloud. Cloud, or as Palo Alto Networks wants to call it, is the update server. Okay, so it pulls down all the signatures from the cloud or the update server and it installs it in the system. Okay, so it has a list of signatures. Now, these signatures can be for app IDs like Facebook, LinkedIn, and DNS, web browsing, right? So we'll understand, how do we utilize all these signatures? We'll understand how do we utilize these signatures. But what the firewall does is it basically tries to identify the traffic that is flowing across the firewall. Okay, and it does something known as pattern matching. Okay, so it runs a pattern matching algorithm on the traffic that is flowing across the firewall, and it tries to identify what is the application ID and tries to identify what is the app ID for that. Okay, once it finds the app ID for that, it will try to identify whether it is allowed or not. This is how the app ID is utilized on the Palo Alto Networks device. Any confusion on this? It's very simple.
No.
Now, yeah, cool. Um, this is just app ID, how Palo Alto Networks utilizes app ID, right? So there is something known as content scanning. Content scanning is also done using pattern matching algorithm. Now it uses a different type of pattern matching algorithm than it uses uh, to identify app ID. Content scanning includes URL filtering, threat scanning. Now in threat, it is antivirus, anti-malware, all the good stuff, vulnerability protection. Just give me a second, I'll be back, okay? Yeah. So in threat scanning, all the good stuff is there: antivirus, anti-malware, and vulnerability protection, file blocking, all sorts of things. So whatever you mention and you try to issue the firewall that, okay, do threat scanning or URL filtering, it will again do pattern matching algorithm for that. Now that's a different pattern matching algorithm it uses for app ID. Okay, but whatever firewall is doing with related to layer 7, it is doing with the help of pattern matching algorithm. Okay, so it is basic. All the firewalls do it. See this, a question. Yeah, this is the introduction class for the Palo Alto Tanmay. Okay, so let's understand what are the other next-gen features that are supported by Palo Alto networks. Now, what is this fuss about SSL decryption and SSL traffic? As we all know, all the traffic is moving to SaaS applications. All the applications are moving to SaaS, right? All the enterprise traffic, if you see on the firewall, around 85% of the traffic would be SSL. Now you won't be able to apply app ID, content ID on SSL traffic because firewall will be blind to SSL traffic. SSL is doing encryption between source and destination. Destination can be google.com server or facebook.com server. The client can be your PC. Okay. So the firewall doesn't know what threats are inside of SSL. This is why SSL decryption is very important. And all the security vendors do it the exact same way as Palo Alto Networks does it. Be it proxies like Netscope or Zscaler, they do it the same way. Okay. They do something known as forward proxy for this. Later in the course, we'll understand, what exactly forward proxy is and what are the different types of SSL decryption. But you can think about, okay, this is the next gen firewall feature. Okay, if you consider a router or a traditional firewall, it might not have this capability, SSL decryption. This capability requires a lot of data plane memory. Okay, it is CPU intensive. But this is a mandatory feature in order to be called a next-gen firewall. Okay, once it is decrypting SSL traffic, it would no longer be SSL app ID. You can identify that, okay, the user is using Facebook chat. I don't want him to allow Facebook chat. You can do granular controls. You can identify threats inside of SSL traffic and you can block threats inside of SSL traffic. So this is very important in order to fully utilize the next-gen firewall. We already discussed what App ID is all about. If we go to this website, I'll quickly show you. So if you go to this website, applipedia.paloaltonetworks.com, you would see that Palo Alto Networks database of applications. So there are 49. Okay, this is not responding. 4976 applications. Okay. So there are 4976 applications that Palo Alto Networks has. So if you download latest content on Palo Alto Networks firewall, you will see these many applications on the firewall. So you can search any application like Facebook and see what is the category, subcategory of it. Facebook apps, Facebook social plugin, Facebook base, Facebook chat. Okay. Similarly, you can look for Google Drive, Google Base, and stuff like that. So if you want to see a particular application, what its category and subcategory, what's the risk level of that app ID, you can do that. But this is the database that Palo Alto Networks has, and all the firewalls will have if it is latest on the firewall. Okay, so you can visit that website and get to know about that. So this is about App ID and SSL decryption. Another next-gen firewall feature is Content ID. Content ID, as I already explained, is content scanning. This includes URL filtering, antivirus, anti-spyware, vulnerability protection, file blocking, etc. Okay, so this is about Content ID. So all the layer 7 thread scanning feature are inside of Content ID. Okay. User ID is basically, just give me a second. Yeah, okay, guys, I'm back. So user ID is another next-gen firewall feature supported by Palo Alto Networks. It will help map IP to user. It will help map IP to user. So you can enforce user-based policies. You can enforce user-based policies on your firewall. So you don't have to use IP addresses anymore to enforce policies because it may change depending on which location or office location, or if you're logging in from home, it may change, but the user ID or username will stay constant. So you can enforce the same security policy structure no matter the user, no matter the location. Okay, this is why user ID is so powerful. Mostly all the customer will use user ID. Okay, we'll also understand how we implement user ID. Okay, so these are the basic next-gen firewall features that are supported by Palo Alto Networks. Any questions, guys? Okay, so apart from this, the firewall, this device will also support remote access, VPN. Okay, this is Global Protect. Okay, Global Protect is similar to, you can say, AnyConnect. AnyConnect is Cisco's remote access VPN solution. Okay, but Global Protect is far superior. You can bring the capability of your firewall to remote users. This is what Global Protect does. You can consider this as a next-gen firewall feature as well. Okay. Now, apart from this, it supports remote access VPN. It can also do SD-WAN. Not all the firewalls will do SD-WAN. Not all the firewalls will do SD-WAN. Now, for people who don't know what SD-WAN is, it is in short for software-defined WAN. Okay, so it basically has two things. One, it can bundle multiple ISP links together, and can decide which path to choose based on path metrics. As simple as that. Okay, now what are these path metrics? This can be latency, loss, and jitter. Okay, it will decide the best path out of these three links based on the path metrics, based on latency, based on loss, or based on jitter. This is what SD-WAN does. Okay, now SD-WAN also has the capability of forming a mesh network. So if you have, for example, 50 sites. So if you have 50 sites and you have one DC data center as a hub, and you have all these branches. You can create a hub and spoke topology instantly using SD-WAN. You don't have to configure anything. With a single push, you can configure these hub and spoke topology or even a mesh topology. Okay, so this is the use case for SD-WAN and what exactly SD-WAN does. Apart from this, this also supports data loss prevention. DLP, data protection, is very famous nowadays, right? So it also supports DLP, inline DLP. And we'll learn a lot more about all the licenses that it supports in our course. So what this course will cover, as I already told, this would cover the firewall essentials. This is EDU 210, managing firewalls at scale. This is EDU 220, troubleshooting deployment. EDU 330. Okay. We will cover all these three. If you just consider this is PCNSA, and all these three combined content is for PCNSE. Now the latest content is available for online. I will share that with you as well. We will focus more on conceptual and lab work, also hands-on. So I will tell you how to troubleshoot basic issues, from basic to advanced issues as well. We'll also talk about deployment scenarios, wherein how we identify where to deploy the firewall core, where is exactly it is deployed, if it's deployed in core, if it's deployed in data centers, whether it's deployed at the edge of the network, whether it's deployed at the edge of the network, how many ISP links can be combined, all sorts of things, right? What's the best practices in order to deploy? Yes, question? I see someone raised a hand.
Yes, Sanjay, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a prerequisite that, I mean, before this course? I mean, should I be, because I'll be very honest with you, whatever you have
Mm-hmm.
taught in the last 15, 20 minutes, I don't know a
Mm-hmm.
lot of it. I'll be very honest, right? So, should I
Mm-hmm.
be educated on a few things to actually be in this course? Or, I mean, how does it work?
So, to be honest, this is an advanced course. Okay. Um, for in order to attend this course and in order to get the most out of this course, I would want you guys to at least be a CCNA or have that CCNA knowledge, because I'm not going to tell you how routing works or how IPs works or how ARP works, things like that, how TCP works. So you should understand the basic network jargons. We are not going to talk about networking a lot. We are going to talk about product, because everybody can learn networking, right? It's available on YouTube. Nobody is going to teach you um, how to deploy the firewall in the network, right? So at least have this basic CCNA kind of knowledge is what I would suggest.
Sure. And that is something that is going on like side by side, right?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, so that's something that I'm on it, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Other than that, there's nothing. And then you said you will upload the lecture, not lectures, but do you like have a previous, lectures that you can upload so that I can just go through them before you even
If you
start?
want a sample, I'd suggest talking to these guys, to the management of networking. They should be able to give you a sample of the lecture.
Okay, not just the lecture, but I'll be honest. So I'm also in the CCNA course with networkings, right? So what I
Mhm.
have right now is I do have the whole CCNA course, like previously recorded CCNA course. So what I usually do
Mhm.
is I go for that course, like I go for that one lecture that the trainer is covering, would be covering, like for that day, and then I
Mhm.
get half of it, and then when the trainer goes through it, I get the rest of it, right? So I try to get it before he even teaches something, right? So is that something, do you have that, or should I still talk to the management about all that? Sorry.
You should probably talk to the management, because all the batches that I have taken, they are recorded. If you want to watch like a previous recording, that is available. You can get that. Um, but if you're talking, the course or the topics might change based on the types of questions the people ask. It completely depends on you, right? What kind
Mhm.
of questions you drive me towards.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, so that's the reason. It might not be exact same, but yeah, the target of and eventually the destination is the same. Become a PCNSE, and all the content is covered.
Got you. Got you. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
So actually, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
What is IDS and IPS? Why we are using it?
Okay. IDS, IPS. So, what do we understand IDS and IPS? Okay, these are just people, or I would say sales. Okay, they like to complicate a lot of things. They like to introduce complicated jargons just to sell buttload of thing to customers. Okay, nowadays this is very popular, right? SASE, you heard
Yes,
about
yes, sir.
SASE, and secure service edge, right? Data protection, and nowadays the hot selling feature is data protection, CASB, and browser isolation. These are the hot selling features currently in the market. So people, they like to complicate a lot of these things, so that people, um, especially in the cybersecurity, customers are very scared. So what if they get infiltrated and their data gets stolen? Okay, so they get easily scared of all these things. So what we will not complicate these things. Okay, so as the name suggests, this is intrusion detection system. Okay, and this is intrusion,
Protection system.
yeah, protection, or we can say prevention. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, in just basic terms, this will detect intrusion. This will not block it. But you would know that, okay, someone had a threat was detected. You can say that. Okay. So it will generate a log. It will generate a log. Okay. This will generate a log and block the threat. Mostly IPS, IDS, they are inside a single device. Okay. Palo Alto networks have IPS, IDS combined in a single device, and we call that CTD or threat scanning. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So if you just say detection, it is not blocking it, it is just generating a log, kind of like you have the visibility of what's going on in the network. You can say that. But if you're talking about prevention, it is you have the visibility and you're blocking threats continuously. Just think it like that. Hope it's clear.
So, sir, I have a little bit doubt. If we have both of IDS and IPS, we need to also implement firewalls.
Yeah. So these are just features for threat scanning. Okay. So threat can be, a virus. Threat can be a malware. It is also combined in virus. It can be vulnerability. We'll talk about all these things. It can be a vulnerability. Like, have you heard of a CVE?
No, sir.
Common vulnerability exposed. So every product they launch a CVE whenever. So for example, there was a common vulnerability for JavaScript. Recent Log4j vulnerability 2 years ago. It was very huge. So all the systems were exposed to it. Whenever a common vulnerability is exposed, um, all the operating systems they have to issue a CVE, whether it is vulnerable to this CVE or not. Okay, whether it is vulnerable to the CVE or not. So if an operating system is vulnerable to any sort of CVE, the firewall can protect it. The firewall will be able to protect it.
Okay, sir.
Similarly, vulnerability scanning is different from virus scanning. And then we also have anti-spyware scanning, and then we also have URL filtering. So all these things are different. These are all thread-based. And when you talk about firewall policies, these you can think about just basic allow or deny. Allow or deny based on app ID. Okay. These virus, malware, anti-spyware vulnerability, these come later. First, the traffic needs to be allowed. Only then it can be scanned. Okay, this will make sense once we understand the traffic flow inside of Palo Alto Networks device. Okay. Yeah, any more question? I see a lot of hands raising.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Mhm.
Hi, my name is Pratibha. I'm having the small talk. Am I audible?
Mhm.
Actually, is the regular day-to-day operational support course or is the track level troubleshooting has been included on this course?
So not exactly TAC level troubleshooting, I would suggest. Okay. Because when you think about TAC level troubleshooting, they go into daemons and they kind of understand how all of the daemons are talking to one another. Okay.
Yes,
That
that's
is that.
no, I'm not asking about that. Are this course is properly designed for the TAC level troubleshooting or for day-to-day level support and troubleshooting the issues?
You can say day-to-day troubleshooting and day-to-day support. That would be
Okay,
better, and probably properly deployment of Palo Alto Networks device.
okay.
Okay.
They got
Yeah.
it. And second
Yeah.
on this, what about the panorama? Panorama going to be, you will give you the live devices you are going to configure the templates.
Yeah.
Uh,
Panorama
uh,
will be covered.
sorry?
Panorama will be covered.
Okay. What the portion of that? What you are going to cover in the panorama?
So if we go over here, these are the course content for Panorama. So we'll understand license and activation for Panorama. Where can we deploy the deployment modes, Day 1 config, management, device groups, template stacks, templates, and then onboarding firewalls to Panorama and troubleshooting, log forwarding to Panorama, and from Panorama to external server.
For example, we are having our scenario is that we are having based on our requirement, it may scale up and it may scale down few firewalls. Okay,
Mhm.
if a
Mhm.
new Palo Alto Fire has been identified in our network, is it automatically detected and provide the license and apply the default template? Are you going to cover this?
So you're talking about zero touch provisioning. That is not covered.
Okay, that's not covered. Okay, and what about that expedition tool, Palo Alto expedition tool?
Expedition tool.
Yes,
You're talking about expedition, right?
yes, expedition
No,
tool.
that is consultant level migration. That is also not covered.
Okay, then what about that Palo Alto Stata Cloud Manager? Oh, not only this course. I'm not asking about this course. In case
Mhm.
if you're having any other courses also, please let me know. Why? Because we are looking, I'm exactly looking for that. If any Palo Alto Cloud Stata Manager,
You're
because we
looking
are
for a
looking at the
custom course, to be
managing.
honest. You're looking for a custom course, to be honest. Those content will be covered by specifically someone from Palo Alto Networks, because um, these what you are looking for are partner courses. Because Expedition, I don't think anybody has. Expedition is either way, it's end of life now. Now, even Palo Alto Networks, they don't use Expedition. They use something known as companion tool.
Yes,
But
they said, I know that, but the problem is we are having huge migrations in future. Currently, we are planning to migrate 200 plus firewalls.
Mhm.
And also, currently we are using Panorama. Now we are moving to SCM,
Strata
State
Cloud
of Cloud
Manager.
Management. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And we are planning to do that Panorama only for the licensing. If any new device is identified in our network, it should pull that configuration. It will supply the global template and
Mhm.
supply the license.
So this course content is focused on PCNSE. So it is not custom for anything, I would say. Okay, so if you
Do you have
go
any
on
custom
this,
course like this? Can you customize the course?
you can talk to the management for that if you need a custom course.
Okay, then let me check with
Yeah.
them.
Because this is what I will be covering. This is the PCNSE course content. Not
Okay, okay.
okay.
Okay, sorry, just now I joined in the course. I don't know what is the course. Going to cover.
That's fine.
So, thank you very much
Because
for
what
that.
you're looking
Yeah.
for is, I guess you already have a lot of experience on Palo Alto networks. It's just that you want to understand how to migrate the device to Palo Alto networks. That's why you're looking for a custom course. That's okay.
Yes,
But
yes,
this
yes,
course
yes.
is,
Yes,
yeah,
that's
this
right.
course would cover, basic Palo Alto networks to advanced Palo Alto networks. But at the end, you would know how to troubleshoot, set up Palo Alto networks device and day-to-day operations as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye. Nice.
Mhm.
What are we going to use for the labs?
So labs, networkings have their own labs. You will be given access to the labs. You can, I think it is for 90 days, if I'm not wrong.
So are those real devices or a simulated environment?
It's like on EVNG.
Okay, so
Yeah.
simulator.
Yeah. These are not hardware devices. But we'll discuss the scenarios for the hardware devices as well. But all the working is exactly same. So whatever features that are supported in a virtual device, the same features are supported in the hardware device as well.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
so this is the firewall essentials content that we'll be covering. All types of licenses. How do we activate licenses? Where can we deploy the firewall? Deployment modes, right? Day one config and management, logging and visibility, deep packet inspection, IPsec, global protect and authentication. I think someone mentioned, will I be covering IPsec or SSL? To some extent, yes, I will be covering. But at the same time, this course is more focused on how do you deploy and manage the Palo Alto Networks device, okay? And not how do you understand IPsec, okay? But we will cover IPsec. I will also share particular documentation on where to study more on that topics as well. Okay, so IPsec and SSL. Global Protect, authentication, user ID, captive portal. So we'll also understand how do we authenticate using LDAP, for example, and how do we set up LDAP. Okay. We'll understand user ID. How do we learn user to IP mapping from Active Directory and also from Global Protect? How do we do that? And also from Captive Portal. Captive Portal is nothing but when you enter a guest login, when you go to a hotel, you see a Captive Portal page when you log in, when you try to access the Wi-Fi. The same way, the next-gen firewall can throw a Captive Portal for authentication. Now, the Palo Alto Networks device also supports high availability. We will also understand high availability for the firewall. All sorts of policies, security, NAT, PBF, decryption, all of these will be discussed. And we'll also understand how do we take backup, dynamic updates, software upgrades, ACC, command center, monitor tab, and dashboard. So we'll understand, how do we navigate through GUI and how do we navigate our way to CLI as well. So some level of TAC troubleshooting will be done. Okay. You will understand how to properly manage and troubleshoot. I would say almost 80 to 85% of the issues that you face on the firewall. Nobody knows, 100% of this firewall, to be honest. If someone is saying so, then run away. That's not possible. This device does a lot. We will discuss URL filtering as well. So URL filtering licenses are not available in the lab, but there are a lot of features that can be utilized without licenses. I have my own personal lab that I have licenses for, and I will be able to demo certain features on my lab. Any more questions, guys?
Sunmay, is that the only time slot we have for the weekends?
11 a.m. Yes, I just take one batch,
Okay,
unfortunately. Yeah.
that's fine. So Saturdays and Sundays, 11 a.m., right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. So it would be, so the total course content would be around for 2.5 months. Much you make me work, to be honest. I have the content ready for you, but since you want more time from me, I can give you my time. That's not going to be a problem. Um, just don't divert the course content, I would suggest, okay? But yeah, the total amount of hours that would be that this course content would have would be around 50 hours, 40 to 50 hours.
Got it. And then
Yeah.
do you also recommend any books? Because I kind of like reading books while I'm,
I will share a PDF version of the book, but I don't suggest reading a book, to be honest, because if when you read a book and when you do a practical in lab, you understand things uh, very differently, and suddenly the book doesn't make sense.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even if you want to read what I would suggest is Palo Alto Network's admin guide. Okay, so that will tell you what feature and how that feature particularly works and how to configure that feature. Okay, so I will tell you how to navigate through the admin guide, and I will tell you how to find out if in case you're facing a particular issue, how to troubleshoot that issue and get to the root cause of that issue.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, how many hours per day we study? 11 a.m. to?
11 a.m. to 12:30 or 1, depending on what type of topic we are covering and how many questions you have.
Okay, so basically it's 1.5 hour per day.
Yeah, 1.5
Okay.
hour to 2 hours.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
How to get the lab access?
So when you enroll the course, the support team will give you lab access. You will get the credentials in your email.
Okay, because currently we got access only for the enroll. So we have not received any another mail.
Which access?
For enroll the role, enroll the course. That mail only we have received.
Okay. So get in touch with the team. They once you enroll the course, they will give you access to the lab.
Yeah, today the first day is the free access. So afterwards you can decide whether you want to continue or not. That's why it's a free. Enrollment can be done afterwards.
So if you have any questions, I can ask someone
Uh,
from networkings to join.
yes, please. Because we already have enrolled the course and we have paid already, so we need the lab access also.
Yeah, okay.
And Shanwai can be covered like the reverse engineering type. Suppose we are going to the new organizations and we are not about the informations about the architecture, how our architecture has been designed. Can we get the reverse direction from the firewall to identify how can be rectified from this type of the traffic has been routing and what have they done the architecture? This type of the scenario can be covered in the same topic.
I think I understand your question. What exactly are you looking for?
I'm looking for, suppose I'm going to the new organization, no one has given me the architecture design. I have to be reverse, I have to implement the reverse engineering. Means like they have only provided the admin level access of the firewall. I want to know the exact, the how the traffic is going to take the whole concept from the firewall level
You
and
know
can be
what?
covered.
You know what? So if someone gave me access to firewall and
Mhm.
just tell me, okay, you are the firewall guy, I don't
Mhm.
care about the architecture, to be honest. I
Yeah,
just
correct.
care what gets to my firewall, and I just care what goes through my firewall. That's what a firewall engineer is. Okay,
You are
so
Okay.
working on,
if
yeah,
you are if
firewall.
you are a network engineer, then the story is different.
Yeah, you are working on a firewall device. You don't
Okay.
have to worry about the network.
So that's the mindset that you need to have once you are a firewall engineer. Okay.
All you need to know is what are your interfaces, what is coming in, what is going out. That's it. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
With network
Sir,
engineer, you have got some protocols. Use those protocols, and you can find out what the exact network design is. For example, CDP and
The
Cisco.
firewall can do that as well. LLDP is the protocol, but I wouldn't suggest simply because I'm not a network engineer. I work on firewalls. You tell me what traffic is not working, and I will see if my firewall is blocking it or not. Okay, I'll just call someone from Network Kings, okay? If you have questions, just give me a minute.
Sir,
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just give me a sec, okay?
okay.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
someone have a
Gaurav
question?
Yes, Anvay sir. Gaurav here.
Yeah, okay. Anybody had question from Network Kings? You can ask.
Yeah. Hi,
About
Manpreet.
labs or anything.
Hi,
Any other
Gaurav.
questions, guys, you have?
Yeah, Gaurav. So already I have enrolled for the course. So how to get the lab access and recording video?
No, you will be getting the lab credentials also. Okay. So my team and the counseling team, they will be sharing you the lab credentials directly on your email.
Okay.
What is the
You are
duration
getting
of
the lab
access that we get for those labs? How long the lab access will be available?
that will be available till the time the batch is ongoing, and along with that, we will be giving you certain additional, 15 days or 1 month additional out of it.
The course will go for 2.5 months. Technically, we will practice more after that.
Yeah, so you will be getting additionally 1 month for the complete labs. That will be 24/7 accessible.
Okay, and do we have any projects to do?
What kind of projects are you looking for? I do have lab guides available and I will share those with you. So I'll give you activities and I will perform the lab in front of you as well.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. So now what I mean to say, generally when we study, so
Mhm.
the institutes, they ask us, okay, you complete this project, submit it, we will check it, and then we will, kind of correction, suggestion, and then, okay, that is what I mean. Kind of homework, the old school, old day school.
Your homework will be your lab.
That is during the course.
Yes.
Okay.
Your lab will be given to you like from the day itself, like from today only or by tomorrow, you will be getting the lab credentials, and then you can start practicing with that. And whatever Sanmay sir will be teaching you, you can even practice it at any point of time. These lab will be 24/7 accessible.
Okay, thanks.